Well, Israel's war cabinet is meeting today to discuss the latest ceasefire proposal and planned offensive into Rafah. And families of Israeli hostages held by Hamas are stepping up their pressure to reach a deal. In Tel Aviv, protesters blocked a main highway during the morning rush hour. They urged Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu not to invade Rafah, arguing that an invasion could hurt or kill any of their loved ones who may still be held there. CBS News foreign correspondent Ramy Inocencio has more from Tel Aviv. Ramy, why has an invasion of Rafah become politically necessary for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, at least in his mind, to continue with? And how much is there a shift happening there in Israel right now in terms of popular support for that?
Yeah, Lana, good to see you. Yeah, if Netanyahu doesn't go through with this Rafah invasion, one of the extreme far-right parties of his government has basically threatened to pull out of the coalition, which could then collapse his government. And that threat came from his Minister of Finance, who's the leader of the religious Zionist party, a settler himself. He said, quote, if God forbid you cancel the order to go into Rafah, your government has no right to exist. So Netanyahu is facing pressure on his right flank. And if national elections were called today, polls indicate that Netanyahu's bloc would lose power, and then a former prime minister, Benny Gantz, who is more moderate, would then take control. So for Netanyahu, Rafah could be a matter of his own political survival.
And Gantz having run against Netanyahu previously. But Ramy, let's talk more about the ceasefire and hostage release deal. Where do negotiations currently stand?
Yeah, a lot of back and forth, a lot of words from various Hamas officials, but Hamas basically still hasn't officially replied to Israel's proposal on the table that we saw from last week. But the notable development just this afternoon is that the head of Hamas's political wing, his name is Ismail Haniyeh, and he's based in Qatar, he called Egypt's Minister of Intelligence and said that a Hamas delegation, would return to talks as soon as possible. And CBS News has also learned that that delegation could go in the next 2 days. That's from Hamas's office in Istanbul. Now, another official has asked for patience and that they're still studying the points in this plan. So there is some movement in this. This clearly isn't a no, at least not yet.
It's such a nuanced debate that's happening. And at the same time, there's mounting pressure to get more aid into Gaza. What's the latest on that and the effort to build more access points to actually get humanitarian relief to the people who need it there?
Yeah, a few developments to speak of, especially coming off of U.S. pressure over the past month after what happened with those Israeli airstrikes on World Central Kitchen. These developments are by land and by water. The Pentagon says that that floating pier we've been talking about, that it's building off of the Gaza coast, is now 50% finished. And Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who was just here yesterday, said that it could be up and running in the next week or so. So that's a pretty important development there. Also, Israel on Wednesday reopened a land crossing. This is the Erez land crossing from southern Israel into northern Gaza, and it's the only one on that border. It had been destroyed on October 7th when Hamas invaded. An Israeli military official said that it could help hit a target of 500 trucks a day going into Gaza. The caveat, though, Lana, is that this is just getting aid to the border. Once that aid goes into Gaza, we've been hearing anecdotally that there are delays at IDF checkpoints inside Gaza and massive issues with distributing it to the people who need it most.
Ramy Inocencio in Tel Aviv for us. Thank you, Ramy.